Doug, you watched, your team fight like crazy the other night to win a game, and then to watch that first quarter, the way they came out. How disappointing was that for you?
About as disappointing as it gets. I probably should have called a timeout within the first 6 seconds with the very first turnover. Attention to detail, matching physicality, but we all got to be better, me included. I'm right here with my guys, so they'll be better, we'll be better. But when you come out and you dig yourself that type of hole, you win the rest of the game. I think it was plus 12, but you can't dig a hole like that. Not only digging a hole that way, but it's the confidence that you give another team that is just out of control. You can't give NBA players that type of confidence, just man for man. It can't happen.
Doug, you've talked about Sacramento Kings basketball all season, 19 games in. What is the identity of this basketball team?
Defend, rebound, and share the basketball. That's it. On the defensive end, we want to be physical, make them feel us. We want to compete and communicate. On the offensive end of the floor, we want to play with pace, space, and share the basketball. That's defense, offense, and an overall overarching theme. Defining that, you've seen it sporadically. It's the consistency at which we need it that will define Sacramento Kings basketball. There's a level of intensity, a level of physicality, and then there's the willingness to, be disciplined consistently out there on the floor. Guy makes a couple shots, we should go back to him. Then that guy, once he makes those shots and the defense adjusts, we should share the basketball. Like, these are the tenets of what we are about here. Is it in stone? No, it's not, but that is what it is. Yes.
Are you getting a sense from the bench that there's a little bit of pressure on them having to clean up the mistakes whenever you get off to a slow start from the starters?
We're a team, man. I was on a team with the bench mob, and they would come in, and if it was a lead, they'd take it higher. If it was, behind, they'd bring you up. That's what being a team is all about. So those, but listen, it's very difficult for them because there's an energy that goes with 41-16. And now you just dropped that energy on me. And I have to try to figure out how to do that. And that's where each other, you have to support each other at a really, really high level. More than anything, just, they put themselves in a really good place, and to come out and again, only go probably 2.5 quarters because the start of the third, but I thought the bench found a nice rhythm that started back down where we wanted to go. It's just, it's tough, man. You have to be disciplined in your approach to playing against this type of talent, and when you give them that type of confidence, it's difficult.
Doug, there in the third, obviously you guys played pretty well. There was a group in there that got you guys back to within 10. Do you kind of have like an idea? Is it like on a night-to-night basis you're kind of deciding how you want to close these games, or are you just kind of going based off how guys have been playing that game on who you want out there?
We're not at the point where we know exactly what's gonna happen. If that was the case, we wouldn't have been down 41-16. Right? Because that was about not being prepared and locked into play. When it talks about closing the game, I think you know what DeMar does, and I think that you're starting to see Keegan take a huge, giant step. He knocks down free throws, threes, puts the ball on the deck, rebounds. It's just a really lot to ask for him, and I love him and cherish him. But it's a lot to ask to say guard the best player and then go down to the other end and be that guy that goes for 30. It's a difficult ask, but he doesn't complain. He does every single thing that you ask of him. So hopefully I answered your question. It's it's going to be a night-to-night thing. It just depends on who's going. And first of all, we got to put ourselves in position to be able to close the game. Yeah.
Doug, you guys are obviously a little bit of a smaller team, but when you're seeing these opposing bigs, whether it's like Isaiah Hartenstein, Rudy Gobert, Jalen Johnson, tonight Mark Williams, what are you seeing with their impact rolling to the rim and on the offensive glass, and how you guys could clean that up?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, we have to impact the basketball. So forget about the rolling, because, you know, people used to say MIG, like most important guy. And they would say, like, it's the guy on the rim. And I'd be like, nah, the most important guy is the guy on the damn ball. So the first thing, before you even get to the rolling and all the bigs and all that, you got to impact the basketball, because the basketball is the thing that makes everything happen. Then, as he's rolling, we've got to bring the gym over. And somebody need to hit him. I don't think he got knocked down one time tonight, unless I'm wrong. But the point is, that's making them feel us. That's defending. And listen, like, you're not going to do that every time, but the point is, there has to be a level of physicality when people are just rolling. They can't roll. Be early, be aggressive. I mean, that's pretty much what you saw from them. And when our shell defense is locked in, it was in Oklahoma, has been pretty much for these last two games. These guys, they do a pretty darn good job. It's just when it gets loose and you get a little nervous that you got to go in there and do early work. You see that pick and roll coming, bigs up to the level, stab at the basketball, make that guy who's handling the basketball dribble back, hesitate, something that allows the guard to get over the screen, get back in front, and as that ball starts going downhill, somebody, as the roller is coming, somebody has to stand him up. Somebody has to hit him. And most times, I'll be honest with you, you mentioned Rudy Gobert, if you just stand in the way because he ain't looking, he'll run you over. But, you know, you got to be willing to be about that life.
Talking about the start of the game, I know Zach had, I think it was 2 of those turnovers in the very beginning of the game, and he finished with 6. What do you make of just sort of the rough stretch that he's in, particularly in comparison to, you know, earlier in the year when he was scoring 30 points a game for a little bit for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, just from being a player, one of the things that I know is, like, you don't worry about any aspect of the game. He's a scorer. He knows how to score the basketball. I would go back and we show him any shots that he turns down. Like, you're too good of a shooter to be turning down shots, so you have to be ready to shoot the ball. But when it comes to turnovers and different things like that, you rely on fundamentals. Catch the ball with 2 hands. Use your pivot. Get the defender in a bad position. Take off, and if you don't feel comfortable with DHOing and all that type of stuff, jump, stop, and pivot again. Find somebody who's open. Pass with 2 hands. All the super little things that you think, like, you know, whatever. Those are the things. Those are the ways that you get out of that. Because when you look at those type of turnovers, and we'll go back and look at the turnovers, some of them were passed with 1 hand. Some are just nonchalant. You know, are they being physical? Yes. So that means that you have to be more fundamental when people are physical, because your base about you as I'm pivoting has to be strong. I have to have 2 hands on the basketball. I have to be violent with my movements to make sure that I back people up off of me. So when I go back and I look at that, to your point, those would be some of the probably key tenets that I would talk to him about is, you know, the shooting part, make or miss shots. Like, that's whatever. Like, yeah, whatever for that. But all the other aspects, the back doors, late on rotations, those are the things that help you to get out of this type of area that we're in when we talk about 41-16 or slumps or any of that type of stuff. Fundamental basketball, pure and simple. Thank you, guys. Appreciate y'all.